Yes. Okay, great. Awesome. All right. Well, let me back up a little bit. um, all right. So welcome. Hi. Just a little sound issue, no problem. So I'm Sari Kimball. I'm the creator of Food Business Success, and I help packaged food business entrepreneurs start and grow their packaged food business. So I want to help you take your product from the kitchen, your home kitchen, and launch it into the marketplace and create a profitable food business, not an expensive hobby. All right. So while you're here, while you're watching this video, we are talking about sales today and making money and how to increase the likelihood of making money and being profitable. While you're here, I would love for you to like this video and subscribe to the Food Business Success YouTube channel. That really helps us spread the word to folks who need it. So today we are talking about different ways that you can sell your product. So you work really hard to get a legal product, and then you go out in the marketplace and you're like, okay, now what? Where do I sell it to? And get a lot of questions. I've been getting a lot of questions lately from clients inside Food Business Success about which one should they do and how much of an investment is it in each of those channels. So a couple of key terms here are sales channel. So if you hear that term, it just means an avenue where you are selling your product. And so I'll talk about some options, and there are plenty of other ones to consider. And then you will hear go to market strategy. And so that just means once we've chosen our sales channels, then we're going to decide on a strategy to go and execute those. So go to market with them. So when we're talking about sales channels, they can be pretty obvious. Some of the ones that you think about, right? Direct to consumer, where we have e-commerce or farmers markets. Maybe even think of bigger platforms like Amazon. And then, of course, most people think about retail, like grocery stores, right? So those are typically the main ones I hear people talk about. Certainly, even within grocery, we have a lot of categories like big box, right? Like a Costco, and then all the way down to small independent retailers and everything in between. And I want to just actually challenge you that there are actually a ton more sales channels out there than just those. There are other online platforms that are specifically for food, so not just an Amazon. There are platforms that are for wholesale, as well as direct to consumer online. And then um, when it comes to other wholesale, you can think about gift stores, butcher shops. There's just so many other kinds of stores that are out there, that are physical stores. And then also, I had a client approached about being on a cruise ship. There's hotels. And then, of course, there's food service, which is this whole other category, right? Where maybe you're selling in bulk, and so now they're using your product inside their food, or they might be selling your food. I used to work with a ketchup company, and they sold food service, and the restaurant put the bottles on the table, but then they also sold the bottles as like people could buy them to take home. So there's lots of ways to put together that puzzle. I've also know of brands who've gone on like Home Shopping Network and QVC, with mixed results, but another sales channel that maybe you didn't think about. So there are lots and lots. Oh, and I forgot, another one that you might hear of is C-store, which is convenience store. So but depending on your product, I have some clients who do like snacky things, right? And so they do pretty well inside C-stores. So depending on your product, you want to look at where are all the places that I could go with this product. Now, what I want you to look at is what are your resources of time and money? Actually, it was just earlier today, I did a podcast with somebody who's a VP of sales, and we talked a lot about really dialing down and really only choosing one or two sales channels to begin with, because all of those sales channels are going to take time and energy and resources, and you probably just have a limited limit amount of that. Most of the people I work with have full-time or part-time jobs, have busy lives, families, all of that good stuff. So and you're wearing all the hats, right? When you're a business entrepreneur, when you're doing CPG. So you're probably not going to have a ton of time, let alone cash, to go and invest in all of these sales channels. And honestly, that is one of the biggest mistakes I see people make is they're like, but I want to do wholesale and I want to do e-commerce and I want to do farmers markets and I want to do Amazon. And it's too much at the beginning. It's a big investment, and all of those channels require very specific strategies, and they're going to be different from each other. Hi, Lisa. Welcome. Thanks everyone for joining me today. So, I do have clients that are like, all right, I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall. I'm going to try farmers markets and I'm going to try a little food service and kind of see if anybody bites over here. And I'm going to try some small wholesale. And it's okay at the beginning to kind of try things out and kind of see where it's a good fit and maybe what feels best to you. And then I also think it is okay to kind of choose one. So maybe it's farmers markets. And then you think about like, oh, well, I also have a connection. I know friend of a friend. This has happened recently, actually. A friend of a friend knows a buyer at Costco, or we have a connection with Whole Foods. So it's totally fine to be pursuing that and kind of keeping it up as a ball in the air, but you really want to be putting the majority of your focus on one or two sales channels and really trying to do those well, get good at it. Anytime you start something new, it's going to be so much harder, right? And it's going to take so much more brain power for you to execute that. And then once you kind of get in the rhythm and you know what to expect, then you can layer in the next thing. But for instance, when we're talking about food service, right now we are talking about a bulk product. If they're going to use it in their food, so now we need different packaging, we need different production, we need different pricing. And so it's different people that you're talking to, right? And so you have food service over here, and then maybe you have wholesale where you're looking for small businesses, independent grocery, gift shops, that kind of thing, where you are really focused and you have a very different package. And then if you were gonna if you had a big bag of snacks and now you wanna go C-store, now I need a small bag, right? I need like that on the go bag. And so all of those things require very different packaging and different promotions and just all this different energy, let alone farmers markets or your e-commerce, right? You can't just build it and turn it on and then hope that it goes, right? You got to put energy into it, put time, put some love in there, put resources into it. Maybe you need to do advertising on social media. Or you're on Amazon, you're going to do promotions. So, and ads and things like that. So, just consider really just choosing one or two at the most and going all in. It's like if you had 10 soccer balls, I heard this analogy, I thought it was really good. If you have 10 soccer balls and every day they're all lined up, right? And every day you can take 10 kicks total. That's it. It's a lot better to kick one ball 10 times down the field and get it into like however many days that takes, but get it into the net and actually score versus kicking those 10 balls one time, right? And so you're only getting everything down just a little bit. So I really recommend, from a resource of your time and money and energy, just going in on one or two, go all in, invest, and really commit. Like, I'm going to stick with this for the next 6 months. I'm going to do everything I possibly can. And I think what happens is that you kind of try a couple of things. And even though you sort of buy into the idea that you do need to fail in theory, but when it's actually in practice, you fail a couple times, you don't hear back from a buyer. Um, you reach out, you go into a store, nothing happens, and you just kind of think, well, I failed, so now let me go try something different instead of sticking with it. Instead of asking yourself better questions. How can I find other stores? How else could I get this into the store? What else do I need to learn? What else do I need to improve about my product? Where is the issue, right? So really going narrow, going deep and digging in. So constraint is hard, but it is necessary, I believe, for success. So some examples I was thinking about when I was writing this out for today. I think about Rachel with Life's a Booch, and she does local wholesale, and that is just like she's just like saturating her local area and just doing wholesale combined with a little bit of farmers market because that really helps support the cash flow. And she started with farmers market, she dialed that in, and then she added in the local wholesale. And she has just worked to do cafes and grocery stores and convenience stores and all of that, right? To get her product in, but she's staying very hyper local. Um, Brian with Barfly Salsa, he is doing breweries. That's it. Like he's just doing breweries and some kind of restaurant brewery kind of types. And he's doing individual salsa and then bulk salsa. But that's it. He's just kind of sticking with that one clientele. And it's really working for him. Seems like every week he just texted me this week and said, I got into downtown Denver. Like he was in South Denver. He's like, I did my first brewery. So he's sticking with it. He's seeing what works. He's tailoring that story to the buyer, and he's really able to get some traction. But it only comes with sticking with it for a while. Leafberry is another great one. Yvonne, she's started with farmers markets and now she's really working on e-commerce. But all that takes energy, right? She's redoing the website and she's going to put some more marketing dollars behind that. Better Than Provisions, granola has been killing it with farmers markets and really doing amazing there. And now they are starting to layer in local wholesale. Uh, Grandpa's Steak Butter, they've been doing butcher shops. They've really focused on that, and it's been really good for them. They have done amazing with butcher shops. And now they're starting to look at some larger grocery chains and have conversations there. And then Clean Cut Cookie, lastly, we launched their e-commerce website and they are killing it there. And I know how badly they want to start Amazon and they also want to do wholesale. And I think we're there that we're just going to do one next thing and layer that in before we add in all three of those because Amazon is like a whole other beast and it requires a significant investment in time and money. So you really need to be practical and realistic on what you can really manage and what you can handle. Remember, we always, always, always overestimate what we can do in a short amount of time, and really we underestimate what we can do in a longer period of time. So be realistic, constrain, and give it a timeline. Like I am going to work the sales channel for the next 6 months. I'm not going to add anything else until I get more information, until I start actually finding out what is working and what's not, and then I can pivot. But you got to stick with it. So that's some insight there on sales channels. If you guys have other questions, other follow up, you can you can type in any questions here now. I'm happy to ask them about sales channels. And it's hard to say exactly how much exactly these things cost. One thing I do is when clients want to go, when we go and apply for Whole Foods or some of the larger chains, I break down what those costs are. It is not free. I wish that it was. But it is definitely not free to go into larger grocery. And so, understanding what your costs are going to be and really being realistic with your resources is super important. And then just going out and being really resourceful, being willing to put yourself out there, ask people, come to the private Facebook group and ask people if they know of anybody at whatever XYZ sales channel or if they have any tips, right? Like use your community. If you're inside food business success, come to the group calls. We have such great conversation in there, and really help each other out as well as any expertise and relationships that I can bring to the table. So get out beyond your circle. You're not going to be able to do this alone. Find a community, use them, and really go out and just commit to one or two sales channels and then go make it happen. All right. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I would love it if you would like and subscribe to this video and to this channel. And I will see you in 2 weeks on Unwrapped. We haven't been doing Clubhouse. Somebody just asked me about Clubhouse. We haven't really been doing that with Colorado FoodWorks recently. So, no, I'm not on Clubhouse right now. I'd rather be over here on YouTube with you guys as well as the podcast. So, go check out the podcast as well. All right. Oh, and Lisa has, how expensive do you think it'd be for me to get on Amazon? So, Amazon, first of all, it is important that you are working towards a trademark with your brand name. There's a lot of benefits that come with that, and there are some big downsides if you don't have a trademark. So, a trademark, I have an attorney that I highly recommend. I can always connect you with, Lisa. She's about $1,000 for a trademark. So you have that expense to start. You're definitely going to need barcodes. So that's something to consider if you don't have barcodes. And then you can set it up yourself. I highly recommend. I have a couple of Amazon folks that I recommend. One that has a course. So if you want to kind of do a DIY and get feedback, and he's got a great private group that he answers specific questions as well. Or I have somebody who will just do it for you and set it up. And then the thing is with Amazon is it's a pay to play. So you can set it all up correctly and then crickets, right? Because when you search, most people don't get past page 2 if you're lucky that they even go to page 2. So that's where the bigger dollars really come in, and it really is so product specific. But being able to run ads is really important in order to get you to that higher level, and showing up higher on the page. So typically from the folks that I know who run ads for people, it's usually they want like a minimum of 2,000 in sponsorship dollars a month, and then their fee is about the same as about that as well. So a couple thousand for them to run those ads. So I'm not saying you can't do it on your own, and I'd be happy to share. I do have some great Amazon resources on the Food Business Success resources page, and some webinars with Shannon Roddy, who I highly recommend, and he's got some great tools. So I definitely think, Lisa, you should be on Amazon. It's a natural fit for you, and it's definitely going to be a good place for you to be. But I think if you just put it up, you're going to, I don't know, I think it'll be challenging if you're not able to put some money into sponsorship and making sure it's set up correctly. So that would be kind of my answer on that. But I do think you should go ahead and do what you can to get up and running. And yeah, welcome. New to your channel, definitely ready to learn a couple things. Awesome. Well, welcome. Tons of videos here on the Food Business Success YouTube channel, as well as the as well as the Food Business Success podcast. So, tons of great resources. And welcome. We have someone from Toronto, Canada. So, I love it. Getting lots of people joining us here at the end. So this video, I highly recommend if you joined us late, just go back and watch. We were talking about all the different sales channels, talking about what are the resources and how many should you go after at a time. Super important to constrain and not overwhelm yourself. Um, Otherwise, I find if we overwhelm ourselves, we don't do anything, right? So pick one. Pick 2 at the most and then really go after it. All right, any other, it's great. We had some last minute questions. So any other questions that I can answer about sales channels? Love it. All right. I don't see anything else coming in. You guys have been awesome. Super fun to be here again today on Unwrapped. And these are just bite size answers to small questions about starting your packaged food business. So I will talk with you in 2 weeks right back here on YouTube. All right, guys. Have a fantastic day. Bye.